The plot thickens in the drama of classified documents as the DOJ declines to prosecute Mike Pence, while simultaneously inching ever closer to a probable indictment of Donald Trump, who isn't taking the news very well. Intrigued? Then click that like and subscribe, and enjoy the video. So with everything going on in the wonderful wide world of politics, you may blissfully have forgotten about the drama involving classified documents. It's a three-tiered, three-pronged drama involving the current president, Joe Biden, the former president, Donald Trump, and Trump's former vice president, Mike Pence. We have some developments regarding Pence and Trump. So let's first play this one clip about Pence, and then we'll unpack the rest.
Fox News has confirmed the Justice Department has closed the investigation into former Vice President Mike Pence over the possession of classified documents at his Indiana home. This is according to a letter sent by the DOJ to Pence's attorneys. That letter, viewed by Fox, says that the FBI investigated the matter and no criminal charges will be brought. Pence says the documents were brought into his home without his knowledge, and this comes as he reportedly is preparing to launch a 2024 presidential run in the coming days.
So that's really good news for Mike Pence. I'm sure he's pretty happy about that. It always helps your presidential campaign, I expect, when you're not under federal investigation. So unlike Trump and unlike Biden, as far as I'm aware, Mike Pence did not have a special counsel assigned to his case. It hadn't reached that point yet. But this is good news for Mike Pence. This takes him out of the political crosshairs, so to speak. But now we got to consider Trump and President Biden, for that matter. Now, like Mike Pence, President Biden has been fully cooperative with the Department of Justice, the National Archives, and the FBI, unlike Donald Trump. There's been absolutely zero evidence that President Biden has attempted to obstruct justice or obstruct the investigation in any way. And it's important to remember that he'd really be in a position to do it. Much like Donald Trump repeatedly attempted to obstruct justice when he was president, the president is given quite a bit of power to do such a thing. The Department of Justice ultimately reports to the president. It's an executive branch department. The FBI reports to the director of the FBI, who reports to the attorney general, who reports to the president. So if Biden wanted to undermine or thwart the investigation, he had the means to do so, at least better than what he is doing, because there's no evidence that he is doing that. So as far as we know, the investigation into President Biden is going undeterred. It's continuing. Whereas when Donald Trump had classified documents, and this was after he was president, he was no longer president, no longer had any federal authority of which to speak, he continuously lied to federal authorities and to the FBI and to the National Archives that he didn't have documents. And then when it was determined he did have documents, okay, I do have documents, but I have the right to keep them. And so there's a lot of back and forth for months and months and months. Then the FBI had a search warrant. They went and collected the documents. Trump said, okay, fine, you got them all. That's all I had. And then the FBI discovered that actually, no, he had more, and he lied to the FBI about it. So then they conducted a raid on Mar-a-Lago, which was lawfully executed. They had every right to do it. And now Trump's upset, and that's what triggered the special counsel investigation. So it's wildly different from the situation involving President Biden and then or former Vice President Mike Pence. But what's interesting is you can kind of see the writing on the wall. So based on reporting, I mean, now you have Mike Pence is no longer being under investigation. But reporting surrounding Jack Smith's investigation of Donald Trump involving classified documents and Donald Trump's involvement with January 6th, there's strong indications that Jack Smith is going to indict Donald Trump, which is great news. I do love this. Phenomenal news. But now the Republican Party, including Ted Cruz here, is in full spin mode. Now that Pence has been released, basically for good behavior, hey, he's cooperated, we have no evidence of ill intent or criminal intent, we're dropping it, we're letting it go. Now the Republican Party is trying to basically get ahead of it because they also see that Trump will probably be indicted. And now I want to play this clip by Ted Cruz and see if you can unpack what he's saying here.
Because he hates Donald Trump. The hypocrisy is massive. And mark my words, I believe Merrick Garland will indict Donald Trump. He wants to indict Donald Trump because he hates Donald Trump. He hates him. He's angry. Merrick Garland is angry that he wasn't confirmed to the Supreme Court. He wants to indict him.
So, a couple of things. Again, you probably see what's going on here. Ted Cruz and other Republicans are attempting to poison the well. They're like, listen, Pence was let go. Trump hasn't been let go, and reports indicate that actually he's probably going to be prosecuted. And they're trying to poison the well in advance. Hey, listen, we're guessing he's going to be prosecuted, and if he's prosecuted, it's the result of a political vendetta, not justice. It's not that Trump did anything wrong and that justice needs to be meted out. It's that it's a political witch hunt. Now, a couple of things about Attorney General Garland. Attorney General Garland is an institutionalist and a by-the-book guy, perhaps even to a fault, in a way that Republican attorneys general simply are not. Bill Barr would have never, ever, ever given his political opponents the latitude and the objectivity that Attorney General Garland affords his. As a matter of fact, during the recently released Durham report, which Republicans were making a wild hay out of, John Durham, in that report, repeatedly praised Attorney General Garland for his integrity and his commitment to the independence of the special counsel investigation, even though that special counsel was appointed by Trump. So there's actually plenty of evidence to indicate that Attorney General Garland is the sort of person who would never do, the sort of thing that Ted Cruz is claiming that he would. And I'll also point out that in terms of him hating Donald Trump because he wasn't offered a Supreme Court seat, that had nothing to do with Donald Trump. Antonin Scalia, the conservative Supreme Court justice, died in 2016 when President Obama was still in the White House. And yes, Merrick Garland was supposed to be Scalia's replacement. And it is true that Senate Republicans under Mitch McConnell refused to have a hearing. But Donald Trump wasn't in power. Donald Trump wasn't in the Senate. Mitch McConnell wasn't taking his orders from Donald Trump. Donald Trump had absolutely nothing to do with it. So why would, even if Merrick Garland was holding a grudge, why would he hold a grudge against Donald Trump? Donald Trump did not play a role in that whatsoever. I'll also point out on this front that the Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington has a really good article describing, in terms of Trump's probable indictment, probable, because it's not happened yet, it's not guaranteed, about the various crimes for which Donald Trump could be charged with respect to, the retention of classified documents, obstruction of justice, and they cite the, 18 U.S.C. 1519, criminal contempt, false statements to federal authorities, and it does a huge breakdown in addition to citing the specific statutes responsible. I'll also point out that in light of all this, Donald Trump is not having a normal one on Truth Social. If you see it, my God, all caps. This man is, he is mad. His caps lock function is just, it's broken. How could DOJ possibly charge me who did nothing wrong when other presidents were charged? By the way, he misspelled presidents. There shouldn't be an apostrophe there. When Joe Biden won't be charged for anything, including the fact that he had 1,850 boxes, much of it classified, and some dating back to his Senate day, when even Democrat senators are shocked. Also, President Clinton had documents and won in court. Crooked Hillary Clinton deleted 33,000 emails, many classified, and wasn't even close to being charged. Only Trump, the greatest witch hunt of all time. Election interference. Don't let it happen. They're going after me as retribution for Republicans in Congress going after them. The difference is they have created major crimes, and I have created none. I mean, again, dude's having a meltdown, right? The fact of the matter is that the story's not over yet. It's entirely possible that Jack Smith isn't inclined to pursue charges against Donald Trump for his classified documents retention. I'd be surprised if he wasn't. I do think that that's where it's going, and I'm ready for it. I'm excited for it, thirsty for it even. The American public is too. We need to see this. We need to see Donald Trump, who is so hilariously, ridiculously corrupt and unethical in a way that no Clinton is, or no Biden is, or anything else. I mean, Donald Trump is the patron saint of American corruption. He is the embodiment of all that is wrong with this country and other countries as well. So it would be great to see him finally, after 76 years on this planet, suffer consequences for a lifetime of corruption and criminal activity. But it may not happen. We don't know. And I will say that him getting so defensive over it and getting so nervous, which he clearly is just chef's kiss. So we'll see developments as they unfold, and I'm sure we'll do other videos about this as it does.